Get controversial. Don't be really political.
I love
If you
political.
if
I
you
hate
regret saying something,
people. I'll tell you if I
tell
regret
me
saying it.
and we won't use it.
Oh fuck! I'm listening though. Just let me put this fucking stud back on.
So just freak freely, speak freely. If you say something that you meant but you don't want everyone to hear, just tell us and we'll not include it. So.
Well, I'm fine eating Boris Johnson's heart on camera.
Right. So just basic. Give us some context. In your view, how has the global pandemic of COVID-19 affected the arts industry here in the UK, but also more specifically queer art and drag?
Well, you have to look at it as like from a personal experience because I can't speak for everyone, but the way that the government itself has crippled our community and kneecapped us massively is beyond disgusting. It is we have a $1 billion industry, multi-billion-dollar industry actually, and it is probably the one thing that gives so many people in our community and our social lives such lift. I mean, I work in venues that aren't queer run. I work in venues that are who accept us as queer performers and involve us in their life and their venues. But those venues have gone to shit. They have completely fallen apart. And the fact that people are being told to go back into a national lockdown for a month, our industry probably won't survive that. I worry for people when they come out of lockdown. The people who are the everyday Maureen's. The people who have a 9 to 5 job, who maybe go out on a Saturday every month, and they're going to come back after this lockdown and go, where has this club gone? Where has this bar gone? It really upsets me the fact that people aren't fighting for their nightlife and aren't fighting for their industries that they themselves will miss, but they're not at the top of their priorities. But for us as queer artists and queer performers, they're our livelihoods. They're the places where we go to get our money, to pay our rent, to lift ourselves up. I mean, as queer people, we are generally quite complicated individuals. So to have a place, for example, like a gay club, a queer nightlife spot, something like that you can find an entire room filled with people just like you, and that's been gone for 6 months. How is that affecting us as mentally? How is that affecting us as a community? The rate of suicide in the last 6 months is not being looked at as a priority, but the rate of COVID deaths of people who are dying, which is terrible, but the rate of COVID deaths is the only thing that's being recognised. When the rate of suicide, the rate of undiagnosed cancer, the rate of undiagnosed other illnesses that are killing people off isn't being recognised. But what they want to do is they want to create a thing that is separating us all. It's not bringing us together. If you look at the news, old and young, north and south, it makes my blood boil to think that we are not coming together, we're separating away. Because as a community, we need to be together. We need to find allies who bring us together more and can lift our voices up, because we as queer people are never listened to fully.
Great, loved it. Can you give us anything else? But maybe, do you think there's anything specific thoughts that do with Manchester in particular?
Well, specifically to Manchester, it's looking at, are you talking about more industry wise? Like industry, like, and queer people and how that's being affected?
The arts industry, but if you want to talk about more specifically queer art and drag.
Oh, well, I can
but
talk about art in
Manchester
general.
particularly.
Well, the Manchester art industry is dying. Like in Manchester, literally round the corner where I live, the the first funded grant I got was from an amazing business and corporation and charity called Home Manchester, which is an amazing gallery space. And they were the first person to ever give me a grant, and they were the first person to ever like think that I could do something bigger than just doing drag. And because I do film and I paint and stuff and things like that, and they were the first people to give me anything that wasn't just, oh, you're a drag queen, you're a clown. And like everyone in that business is unemployed. They work off like government funding, and the government has stopped giving them funding. And their doors are closed. They can't reopen. There's no art spaces for galleries. I planned to curate multiple shows for them over the space of like 5 months. Their entire summer schedule is gone. All the funding they've given out to other artists, because that's what they really do. They outsource their funding to other artists to keep them going, and that's gone. So you think about the knock-on effect of dominoes. How one building, for example, Home, gets a couple million for not only their evolution as a business, but to outsource that to other artists, that has been cut. So all the lines to the artists are cut. So no one's getting money, no one's surviving, people are homeless. I have friends who are having to couch surf. I have literally all these amazing artists who are so talented and been training for years in their craft on the side of the road. And it's disgusting. That we never get seen, ever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate.
Rose of the red. What is your personal reaction to how the government has approached COVID-19?
Oh, I don't...
So more specifically, how do you feel about the techniques they have used to...
My ass is sticking to the chair.
how,
Sorry.
how do you feel about the techniques that they have used to contain the virus as opposed to other places, and do you think that they have been efficient and successful?
I think the techniques that they've used, the government, the Tory party to be specific, have used to contain the virus in the UK has been laughable, really. It has been one of those things where you look at who they are looking at. Who are the people in their circle who they need to protect? Big businesses and themselves. They look at the mainstream directly because that is the majority, and that's fine. Look at the majority, but I want to live in a country where we protect every single person living here. And the fact that they have given so much of that money that was supposed to protect us to big corporations and businesses, and not thought about the small self-employed person who has to, they get £600 a month and their rent's 500 and their council tax is 180, and they are borrowing money from friends, but as soon as the council tax people see that they've got an extra £8 in their account, they take it off. That annoys me. The way that they have just thought, the way that Boris Johnson last week, 12 days ago today, has said to Keir Starmer, the Labour representative, the head of Labour, I forgot what they're called, but the shadow Prime Minister, that one, Keir Starmer said, oh, it's laughable that we're going to go, you want to go into a circuit lockdown, it's laughable, we're not doing that. 12 days later, we're all in national lockdown. To a meeting that he's an hour and a half late, may I point out. If I was an hour and a half late to a meeting, I'd be fucking fired, which he should fucking be fired, or I'll eat his heart, I don't mind. But, these things that they're doing have effects and damages, putting millions of people into a lockdown. I mean, let's step away from queer people. My nan, 74 years old, I think. She's over 70. And she has been in her house with her husband, my granddad, but, with one person, not seeing anyone else for 6 months. How is that affecting a person who is terrified of going outside because they've been reading the news, terrified to go to the shop to feed themselves, has no one around them in a mile radius, and instead is absolutely crippled with the worry that they're going to get cancer, the worry that they're going to have a diabetic shock when they're in the house when no one can get to them and no one can hear them, have a fall on the stairs. Those people over the age of 70, if you're not between the ages of 30 and 55, you are not considered by this government. And this national lockdown does nothing for us but divide us and make us feel like we are less and worthless.
So, just as we've gotten a little bit political...
I'm very political, sorry.
Well, my question is to you. Does drag even have a place in politics?
That's a stupid question. Of course drag has a place in politics. It's the most political thing you can do. It's saying it's going against a political format. And if you think of politics as like the norm, or look at politics as like this is the standard, but you can also look at it as like the standard has many things. Standard of gender expression or gender norms, or the standard of sexual norms, or norms in general. And then to do drag is to completely flip it on its head and say, I have no connection with these. I'm doing the complete opposite. I'm on the outskirts, and by being on the outskirts, you are not only vulnerable, but you are going to be attacked. And the amount of drag queens who've been attacked in this city alone is ridiculous because they are so on the edge. But if you look at it in a political sense of, are we more political as drag queens? I think I think I'm a superhero when I'm in drag. I could take on the world. And I know I make a joke about, oh, I'll eat Boris Johnson's heart, but like I could do that in drag because it does give me the power to almost wear, you know, like when a robber wears a balaclava to not be seen. I know for a fact that if I went out like this, gorgeous, beautiful, stunning woman, and robbed a bank, they wouldn't know it was Johnny in the morning. You know what I mean? If I didn't have an Instagram, but you know what I'm gonna do. I'd probably like paint at the real bank's on a wall. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is more. You have more confidence to be more political. You see injustice in drag every day. You meet thousands of people at work when you're working a job, and you see their struggles, and they talk to you about them because they feel confident talking to a clown, basically. And you take that with you, and you think, oh my god, that's horrible. How can I make this better? And then by wearing drag and by being so outrageous to the norm, I'm more available to go, oh, I'm going to speak up about this. I'm going to fight a little bit louder for this, you know, for everyone, for all of us. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
We've got 20 minutes on the battery. We need to take the SD before the battery.
There is another battery, isn't it?
Huh?
There is another
Wait, do
battery.
you want to stop recording then?
No, if I'm both, don't worry. We're good.
Okay. So just while we're talking about, you've been talking a lot about all the people who got it wrong and fucked up. Can you give me an example of anyone in politics who you look up to, or who do you think got it right?
I'm a massive Corbynite, to be honest. I did like him a lot. I do think the anti-Semitism in the Labour Party is disgusting and needs to be ironed out very fast. There needs to be major apologies met for the injustices they've done. But I do believe that some of the policies that they had, especially in the last election, were brilliant. And even when Corbyn came back and was like speaking about the lockdown, it was refreshing to see someone be like, let's like focus more around making sure people are okay, as well as also making sure that businesses are surviving. Because you got to think about it, but behind every big business is one person. Behind every small business, there is one person. Do you know what I mean? A person I'm in love with, I'm gonna say it now on camera. Well, I'm in love with Andy Burnham. I will ride Andy Burnham till the day I die. Absolute stunning of a man. But I knew Andy Burnham because he is from back home where I used to live. He was our representative, like our Labour representative for our county. And so when I was 6 years old, he did like a donation thing, or like a skip-a-thon, I think it was, with Andy Burnham. And so there's literally a picture of me on my Facebook of like me skipping with Andy Burnham. And then he became the mayor of Manchester, where I moved to. And I was like, oh, this dude, I know him. He's cool. He came to like my church. He's sick. And then he did an interview, or like a press thing the other day just before we went to Tier 3. And he was talking about how self-employed, small businesses, people who are not getting recognised by the local, like by the government sector for the amount of money they're losing, and the businesses that are closing down because of the lockdown, especially Tier 3 when all the bars got closed. He actually spoke for us and used his voice, which is, you know, a cis, heteronormative man, used his voice to lift up small business, queer people, trans people, you know, people who are like struggling really bad right now. So I love Andy Burnham. He's my man. I want him to be Prime Minister.
I think we're going to follow, so we'll skip the last two and then do this one and we'll move on to section 3.
How many sections are there?
There's one more section after that.
I thought it was loads more.
I'm going to show you a picture.
I can maybe see it.
I'm
That's
going to
right.
hold it up. You will have seen this picture before. You'll know what it is when you see it.
Okay. I
It's
hope I do.
I want to kind of get your reaction to it as well.
Okay, good.
And I want you to just talk to me about this picture, and yeah, I think you'll know it.
Oh, I love this picture. I actually despise this photo. More to say that they have like took a photo and stole a photo from an original artist who was actually like, there was actually another ballerina on the other side of where the cut is, and it's actually a picture about like inclusion and them all coming together, and about it was lifting up dancers and artists, and they put it in this, which is about, you know, almost, if you read it the wrong way, like it literally sounds like someone's being like, I'll read it to you in the voice I think it is. Fatima's next job could be in cyber, but she doesn't know that yet. Like they're literally gonna kneecap the bitch and like steal her point shoes and fully throw her into cyber jail, which I don't know what cyber is. They need to explain to us what cyber is, because to be honest, I need to retrain, because this ain't making me survive. But I think it's disgusting. That ballerina has worked 20 years, like since the age of 2, to train her body, her mind, like to be this athlete, you know. Dancers are completely athletes, and to say that, oh, it doesn't matter because we've got another job for her, is making her seem like she is dispensable. And to be dispensable really makes it out like we as artists, as dancers, as queer people, as every single person who is outside the, you know, the norm of employment, is a dispensable thing to the government, and that we can find our way back in. It almost seems like dystopia, like we're all never going to, no, arts will be destroyed and we will all just be put into little cubicles for the rest of our lives until the age of 65, when we can be turned into soil and green and be fed to the youngins. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome.
I love Fatima. I think she's an icon. And I hope she got that photo and was like, this is me, and I need to find who that person is, because I need them to make a comment about that.